What's up guys, my name is Ace, and it looks like we may have the leaked list of weapons for Season 4 of Black Ops 6 as well as Warzone. And these are coming from a data mine, so they were found in the files after the Season 3 Reloaded updates a little while back. This isn't like brand new information or anything, but it's something I haven't covered on the channel yet. And this is coming from a well-known data miner in the community. Hey, I'm a Lakes. Now, just like with all data mine leaks for weapons, while the weapon classes are always very clearly outlined, so you can always tell if it's going to be an assault rifle, an SMG, LMG for instance, for the individual names of the weapons themselves, they use an interesting naming convention that isn't always really easy to decode and figure out which real-life gun it's representing. Sometimes it's very obvious and easy to decode, other times not so much, and in the case of all of these Season 3 leaks, it's not super clear as to which these are, but we can make some pretty good guesses. So I do want to be clear with that in this video. While we do know which weapon classes these are going to be in, and we can make a pretty good guess as to the real-life counterparts of these, they are going to be just that, educated guesses, which is fun to do. And we're going to go through the classes of weapons first. When looking at these naming conventions, for that second chunk, you can see AR, SM, DM. This is the class of weapons. And according to this leak, it looks like we're going to be seeing 3 assault rifles, 1 SMG, 1 marksman rifle, 1 LMG, 1 shotgun, 1 killstreak, and 2 melee weapons. So that's interesting. 3 assault rifles is a lot for a single season, although it's not too surprising. We do tend to see more assault rifles and SMGs than anything else post-launch, simply because those are the 2 weapon classes that get used the most, because they're the most versatile. So it makes sense that they typically want to bring guns that a lot of people will be excited for and interested in and wanting to use. However, I've got to say, I'm a little bit disappointed we still haven't seen a post-launch pistol. We have seen special secondary weapons, but none in the actual pistol category. We still don't have a single revolver in this game, and no 1911 as well, which is something a lot of people expected to be in this game. In either case, let's start going through the individual weapons here, and also talking you through how they typically use these naming conventions. For these, we want to focus on the last bit, so the P49, P50, those are kind of irrelevant. So that last bit we're focusing on here, and for the first one here, it's Fresno. Now, typically, with the way they name things, the only letters that are really relevant on that are going to be the first 2 or sometimes only the first letter. And then if there's a number following that, then the number as well will be relevant. So just as an example, in the game, the MP5, for instance, is labeled as the M Paris 5. So the first 2 letters, MP, and then the number at the end, 5. That one's super easy to decode. So in the case of Fresno here, we're just taking FR, which in Call of Duty, the FR tends to be the FR556, which is based on the FAMAS. So that's my best guess in this case, is we are going to be seeing some version of a FAMAS coming to the game. Assuming that's true, we don't know if that's going to be a full auto FAMAS or a burst FAMAS or what it's going to be exactly. We just know it will be in the assault rifle category. Next, we have an SMG, since it's labeled SM, and the name for this is Lisbon, which if we're using the first 2 letters, LI, I did a little bit of research here. I was unable to find any SMGs that start with LI. And perhaps there's actually a little bit more meaning to the full name here, with it being Lisbon, the capital of Portugal, so perhaps this is a Portuguese SMG, and there happens to be a Portuguese SMG that starts with an L that would be era appropriate as well, and this is the Lusa. So I think that is the best guess here for that, but I'm not extremely confident in this one. That's just the best guess that I could come up with. After that, for DM, this is designated marksman rifle, or in the game, just marksman rifle, and the name on this one is Erie. And once again, after doing some research, I couldn't really find anything where E and R were really prominent in the name, aside from the Mark 14 EBR. However, that one may be a bit of a stretch, since that wasn't created until 2001, and that is technically outside of the time period of this game. But then again, there are plenty of guns that have been added to Black Ops 6 already that are well outside the time period, and would fall around the same date as that. So I guess that's still my best guess in this one, but I'm even less confident in that one. After that, we have another assault rifle with the name Aspen, so AS, which immediately made me think of the AS Val. However, we obviously already have the AS Val in the game. So the other 2 options I was able to find here are the ASM DT Amphibious Rifle, which is in COD Mobile, and if I remember correctly, that did actually appear in a campaign mission at least for one of the older Call of Duty games. It might have been COD Ghosts or something like that. So maybe they're getting a bit on the crazy side by bringing something like that to the game. Or who knows, maybe it could even be a World War II assault rifle, the AS-44, which you guys might remember from Vanguard. Those ones are my best guesses for this, considering the fact that we already have the AS-Val in the game. If we didn't have the AS-Val, that would have been my assumption there. Next, for the last assault rifle out of this leak, we have the Milan, and a lot of people were jumping to the Milano from Cold War, but this is in the assault rifle category, and that's obviously an SMG, not an assault rifle. And once again, I was pretty stumped with this, just looking at MI. However, maybe this one's going a similar route as Lisbon, and therefore we should be looking to Italy for assault rifles, and a good era-appropriate assault rifle from Italy would be the Beretta AR-70 or AR-70/90. In either case, after that one, we have the shotgun, which is the Oh Love, and this one's assumed to be the Olympia shotgun. However, I do want to point out with this one, this was actually data mined in the game way back, well before the game launched, when all of the other weapons leaked that ended up being accurate. This was in that list of leaked weapons. So as a result, I think it's possible that this is just leftover code or it's been scrapped entirely and it won't actually be coming with the upcoming season, or who knows, maybe they've just been hanging on to it and they are actually going to be releasing it for season 4. In either case, I just wanted to make sure I was pointing that out because I think there's actually a half decent chance that we won't be seeing this one. But if we do, it does appear this is going to be the Olympia shotgun. And then finally, for regular weapons at least, we have an LMG labeled as Mesa. So with this, we'd be looking at ME. And my best guesses here could be the Setme Ameli. We have seen the Ameli in the past in Call of Duty quite some time ago. It's been a while since it's been in COD. And the ME just comes from the Setme part of that. Or maybe it's an M60E3, because those are the only 2 letters in that. However, oftentimes if there are numbers in the real name for a gun, it will be featured within the naming convention they use. So this would likely be labeled as something like the Mesa 60, for instance. So between those two, I'm actually leaning a bit more toward the Ameli, but at the end of the day, both of them could be wrong. Now, that's it for the regular ranged weapons in the game. However, there was also a Killstreak that was leaked with this, and this one seems pretty easy to decode. This is the KS, or Killstreak, M202. And the M202 is an incendiary launcher, which you guys might recognize from Black Ops 1 as the Grim Reaper. So this is a 4-shot rocket launcher, and it appears in Black Ops 6 it will be coming as a Killstreak, likely with Season 4. And then finally, after all of that, we also have 2 melee weapons that were listed here. And when it comes to melee weapons, they don't try to hide it. It seems they just straight up label what they are. So I'm quite confident these are going to be correct. The first one is a pickaxe, and then the second is going to be brass knuckles for our melee weapons. And there we go. That's the list of all of the leaked weapons, as well as my best guess as to what they're going to be in-game. Admittedly, these ones were much less clear than many of the previous data mines that we've seen for weapons, especially since none of these feature any numbers, and numbers are really what help us narrow things down. But with that, this is where I'm curious to hear from you guys in those comments down below. First off, how are you guys feeling about the fact that it looks like we're going to be seeing 3 assault rifles in the next season, as well as an SMG, and still no post-launch pistols? And second, are there any other guesses that you have for any of these that I didn't cover today? Do you think I'm wrong on any of these? Do you think they're actually going to be something else? If so, please let me know down below. I always find it interesting to look back on videos like this to see how close we were with our best guesses. And if you enjoyed this video, a like rating is always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.